Welcome to the Metal Blade Museum, located here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. So when you first walk into the museum, you are greeted by our wonderful friend, Mr. Flatus Maximus. So the people from Guar were very kind enough to lend us his actual stage outfit, which is this. And I don't know how they performed in this stuff, because just trying to put that thing on him, that thing's got to weigh like 40 pounds. It's incredible. And that's actually a stage-used guitar as well that he played. So Flatus welcomes you in and rest in peace. So pretty cool stuff from the Guar folks. So back in the day when you had offices that actually had reception areas, Google that, kids, if you don't know what that is. This was what would greet you when you walked into the Metal Blade Records office in the 90s. We had different logos that we made up, but I don't know where those are, but we did find this one and put it up there. We make these posters and banners for all sorts of various things, and this is just one of them that we found. It's kind of cool because it's got almost all the Metal Blade logos that we ever had kind of in the background. And as you come in, you also see some more early stuff. This is actually John Bush from Armored Saint's original white leather vest. It's not quite white anymore, but his original vest. And on the back is the great Armored Saint painted by the late, great Dave Pritchard, who was their original guitar player. And then next to that is Joey Vera, bass player from Armored Saint's outfit from the Raising Fear tour that happened sometime in the 80s. Now we move on to one of our cabinets we have here at the Metal Blade Museum. And this is kind of an ode to physical product, which of course we're moving away from that in the music business, but since we've been around for a long time, we have a lot of it. So we have a bunch of cool stuff like Amon Amarth tchotchkes and promo stuff we did, a couple of compilation albums that we did in the 80s, a little Amon Amarth flask, which every Amon Amarth fan should have, right? A whole little Cannibal Corpse little area here. Included, I know this is always a fun one. It's a little worse for wear, but this is the rare blood packs that we did back in the day for Evisceration Plague. A little rough for wear, but it's still pretty cool. We sent them to people for promos, along with a little syringe to go along with it as well. So it's kind of a medical theme for some reason. Don't ask me why, I can't remember. And then these are a whole bunch of compilation CDs we did over the years, back when the CD was the prominent choice. We did a million compilations. We'd give them out at festivals. We'd send them out to people for promo. We'd send them to journalists, just all sorts of stuff. And a lot of them was just compilations of new bands we had coming out that people could listen to. It was a really great way, especially at the festivals. We'd make up like 15,000 of these things and go to a bunch of the festivals and hand them out to kids and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then below that, you've got more physical product, a lot of DVDs, some VHSs, which are really old, obviously, and a bunch of other stuff. There's like a flexi disc in there, some cassettes, just a whole bunch of various things we did over the years in the physical format. And then on the very bottom is the now infamous long boxes. If you don't know what a long box is, when we went from vinyl to CDs, the record stores couldn't configure the CDs. Like if it was just a little CD, they weren't fit in the vinyl bins. And they didn't, obviously every store didn't want to just completely renovate their store. So we made these long boxes and two of them would fit perfectly, well, almost perfectly, in with where the vinyl would go. So we made a bunch of those and now there's this huge resurgence, not of people making them, but if you go on eBay or anything, these collectors are now collecting this stuff like crazy. So they're pretty rare and pretty cool. So here you have more cool stuff from our archives. This is old school promo photos and press releases that we did back in the day, pre-computers and internet and all that good stuff. You actually had to print this stuff up and actually make the photos and give them out to people. So this is a bunch of old school stuff. We used to do the Metal Blade News, which we would do, I think, once a month or once every 6 weeks or whenever we had news. We did like a little newsletter, some cool like Sacred Reich stuff down there. And then we did UFO, we put out a UFO record once, which as a UFO fan was a huge honor for me. So it's a UFO promo photo. Also my buddy Earl Slick, who's a legendary guitar player, played with Bowie and John Lennon and everybody. We did a record with him and good guy. So just all sorts of cool, fun stuff back in the day when we did actual physical promo photos. This is again before the internet. It's all 80s, maybe early 90s before we made it digital. And then we move on to yet another cabinet here. And it's just kind of a whole bunch of stuff that we put together here. Magazine cover for Amon Amarth. There's some more flasks. Apparently we do a lot of flasks. All sorts of little cool stuff. This Fate's Warning thing is really super cool that we did for Perfect Symmetry. We actually made these up and gave them out for promos. This is back in the day when you were fighting to get bands in magazines and get airplay for radio. So when they give them something like this, they be, oh, cool, we'll play your record now or put it in your magazine, hopefully. And then the second row here is a whole bunch of Metal Blade stuff we've done over the years that we've, again, given away for promos. A lot of stuff we do it around Christmas time. You'd see kind of some Christmas ornaments there and cups and all sorts of crazy little toasters. A lot of things involving drinking for some reason. I'm not condoning that. And then below that's just some more stuff too, like little 6 feet under stuff, the infamous Chris Barnes bobblehead that we gave out. And so this thing here is interesting. So this is on Montmartre, obviously. So this is their horn. If you've seen the video, Raise Your Horns, and they always have these things. So we wanted to give these away, but they wouldn't allow us to make them like fake. You could make fake horns, they're everywhere. But they said, no, it have to be real horns. Like, all right, so we made up about 35 of these for the super VIPs. So I was the one that actually opened up the box when it came from Europe, and I opened up the box and I almost passed out. I don't think I've ever smelled anything that horrible in my whole life. A whole bunch of dead animal parts basically there. So, but we don't do these anymore. Now we do like the proper horns, and I've never would take a drink out of this either, by the way. That's just me. We used to do stickers and some business cards. We used to do these notepads back when people had notepads. So we did some notepads. And there's a little hockey ode here. Obviously, you guys know I'm a huge hockey fan. So over the years, Metal Blade's done some stuff with hockey, which is really fun for me. One of the things we did was a single with a guy named Ken Baumgartner, who played for the LA Kings. We did Motorhead's Bomber because his nickname was Bomber. So we did a single with him, and that's his signed stick below there. We gave a bunch of money to charity. It was pretty cool. And Anvil, pound for pound, hockey pucks that we did back in the day. And this was the Phoenix Mustangs. We had a whole dasher board on there for Metal Blade, which was super cool. So a bunch of stuff there, and then some catalogs that we've done over the years. And then Metal Blade was involved in the Rob Zombie film 31. I actually get an executive producer credit on that, which is kind of fun to do. And then the very bottom for our 20th anniversary, which I can't believe is 20 years ago now, we did the box set and just some articles and stuff for the 20th anniversary, which again, I can't believe it's been 20 years. So this little guy is the infamous Gorgor from Gwar. Obviously not life size, but we did these promo items we used to do back in the day. Gwar, luckily enough for us, is amazing and really cool. They love to do stuff like this. So we made about 35 of these guys, and again, handed them out to the very important people, I guess, in the industry and big Gwar fans obviously want to have it. So luckily, this guy's still hanging around here. He's a little worse for wear, but he's hanging in there. Again, cool little Gorgor from Gwar. I just thought this was really cool. This is one of the first things I ever saw where people were doing these personalized waters. So, of course, Gwar did Gwater. I actually drank the water, but I do have the bottle still. That is the first ever promo photo that Armored Saint did when they got signed to Chrysalis Records. And that's what Joey Vera from Armored Saint is wearing there. That's what's left of it. It's a little worse for wear, but it's still pretty cool that he kept that all these years and loaned it to the Metal Blade Museum. So here we have the Merciful Fate / King Diamond portion of the museum. All sorts of cool King Diamond stuff in here. We've got these awesome things that King Diamond had made that they actually sell called Knuckle Bones, B-O-N-Z. You can go on and order this stuff, and it comes with these really cool King Diamond figurines as well. All sorts of other little tchotchkes. We also have something called DATs. Way back in the day, in the 90s, we used to make DATs, and that's how we would actually master records instead of before it was on reel-to-reel tape. We don't use them anymore, and I don't think there are any DAT recorders or players around anymore, but I found them. They're kind of cool. And just some other cool Merciful Fate stuff, some picture discs we did, more laminates, autographed Mayhem thing, and then some advertisements that we did back in the day that featured Merciful Fate and a bunch of other bands. To top it all off here, these are Cannibal Corpse lithographs that we made. I don't even remember what we made them for, but they're pretty cool because Vince Locke, who is the amazing author and artist of all this stuff, actually signed all of them. So those are pretty cool. So this is kind of the early years of Metal Blade. These are some of the first records we put out. In fact, Damnation Alley was the actual, aside from Metal Massacre, the first record we actually put out. Armored Saint being right behind that, and then the full Bitch album behind that, and of course the infamous Slayer Show No Mercy. This is actually the first ever article ever written about me and Metal Blade, and of course the title is pretty funny. Brian Slagle loves his mother, which of course I always did. And she's in the photo, which is pretty cool. And then those are the original films of Hell Awaits. And again, if you know what films are for vinyl, you have to make the films to make the album covers, and that's the way it used to go. And so that's the original films from 1985, I guess. So another really cool thing that we have here at the Metal Blade Museum is our friend Robert the Doll. If you don't know the story about Robert the Doll, please Google it. It's a pretty amazing story. Ozzy Osbourne is involved with it, which makes it even more interesting and more metal. But this comes courtesy of our friends at the East Fortello Museum in beautiful Key West, Florida. And he's here watching over everything, making sure everything's all going good here at the Metal Blade Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada.